Hi, and welcome to Raising Girls of Inspiration. My name is Angela.
And my name is Greg.
And you are here listening to a podcast that believes in living life to the fullest, loving every moment, and laughing every day. Greg and I have been married for over 20 years. We have 3 beautiful children. They're very different, and life is sometimes a challenge. So we have this podcast where you can come and listen to our life journeys, adventures, and just the woes and joys of just living a married life, raising girls.
Yes.
So you guys can follow us on anywhere you get your podcasts. Search for Raising Girls of Inspiration. We are there. Now, if you want to see us and our beautiful faces, go over to YouTube and search for Raising Girls of Inspiration, and you will find our podcast there. We also have a family vlog called Girls of Inspiration. Make sure you subscribe to both of those. Comment, ask us questions, tell us what you want us to talk about. We would love to hear from you, right, Gregory?
Love it.
We would really love to hear from you guys,
yes.
and that way we would know what you guys want from us, so we can give it to you.
That's right.
So today we're going to talk about what, Gregory?
Marriage
and divorce. Yeah.
Wow, a lot to talk about. In such a short period of time.
Yeah.
For our marriage, yes, we have been married for over 22 years.
I think it's 22 years this year.
Over 20 years. 22 years this year.
Yeah.
This year. Yes, it's been some ups and it's been some downs. And I think everybody can agree to that. It's been ups and downs.
In the marriage.
Over 20 years. A lot of people say, yes, you have that 5-year pinnacle. Once you get past that 5 years, you can handle anything. But now these days, I was talking with my wife earlier. We was come up to the conclusion, it seemed like it's 10 years.
Yeah, I think it's a little longer. It seems like it's taking a little longer for marriages to really stick.
Yes. And speaking of stick, let's go ahead and get straight into the topic.
Okay, so we're going to talk about how to save your marriage from divorce. How to save it from divorce. We're going to have 5 points for you guys. I don't know. I have 5 points. Gregory might throw in another 1 or 2.
Right.
But in my mind, I have 5 points, and I don't know because we don't always communicate what each other's going to say. Make it more a flowing podcast.
Suspenseful kind of.
I guess it's suspenseful for you and I, because I don't know what you're going to say, and you don't always know what I'm going to say. So,
and before we get into divorce, the divorce rate, we just looked it up. In 2023, average 39%, some researchers say up to 40 to 50% in the states of America. So, yes, there are some challenges when it comes to divorce rate. So I want to make sure I throw that little indicator out before we get started.
Yeah.
Yes.
50% is pretty high, and that's what I'm pushing more towards. It's like now, just when you see the couples around you, they're not lasting, and it make you almost look at you and I'm like,
are we gonna make it?
Because it doesn't matter if you have over 20 years. It's couples getting divorced after 20 years.
Listen. I know a couple that was married over 50-something years.
Yeah.
And the weirdest thing, I'm going to get divorced. You're 70-something years old. You've been married for 50-something years old. Come on. We need to be realistic here. Those things just kind of don't make sense. I feel like there's a lot of little nuggets you kind of missed. You missed in the midst of your relationship that you could have been corrected. Maybe if you would have listened to us, maybe we could have helped you. I don't know.
Or maybe they just wasn't meant to be married.
Oh, yeah. It'd take you 50 years to figure it out.
Yeah, and it probably was 50 years of somebody saying, after the first year, I don't know if I should have did this, but stayed because they felt like that's what they were supposed to do.
Right, yeah.
So.
Hey. To each his own.
Yeah.
Let's get in.
Well, let's not us be the 50-year divorcee. So, my first point is, if you want to save your marriage from divorce, is both the the partners have to want to save the marriage.
Okay.
It's really hard to save a marriage if one doesn't want to save the marriage, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because how are you going to do that? How are you going to save a marriage? I mean, it's possible, but that one person that wants to save it is going to have a whole lot of fighting to do if the other one in their mind has made up their mind that I don't want this marriage.
Right.
What
Because
you saying?
you have two people that wanted to get married, and you have to reach that common goal. You can't do it by yourself. That's why I say marriages have to, and we talked about this in the podcast before, the marriages have to be 50-50.
Yeah.
You one
Well,
person.
we said 100.
Well, hey, in that case, 100, 100. So in order for you to be successful in that marriage, both people have to, if one person putting 100% and one person putting 8%, it's not going to work.
Not consistently. It's not going
Right.
to work consistently, no.
And those 8%, when it comes to that, those other 92% is distractions. It's not on the same page. And the question is, how do you get on the same page?
Yeah. And I want to say that it's counseling. So if you are lopsided in your decision about staying married, one thing that will help you is couples counseling. And not just couples counseling, but individual counseling as well. But if you have a partner that just refuses to do counseling, it's one or two things. Either that person really does not want to save the marriage and don't want to be persuaded into saving the marriage, or just don't want to put in the effort.
Right.
Don't want to do the work.
Right.
You know.
Right. And also, and I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but when it comes to counseling, also, you have to be an effective communicator. Am I jumping ahead? Let me know.
I guess counseling will help you become an effective communicator.
Yes.
But yeah, but that's a different point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but when you're in counseling, a lot of times when you do counsel, let's say you do counseling, if you're not communicating effectively, if you're not giving all the details, most people, when they counsel or they being counseled, they say things to benefit them.
Yeah.
Or they say they don't tell the whole story.
Yeah.
Because you can't get effective counseling if you don't tell the whole story.
Yeah, and that mainly you're talking about when you do individual counseling.
Yes.
Yeah, so you would have to have a good counselor to really pick at, especially individual counseling, because it's only you there.
Yeah. Okay.
So the counselor's only going to hear your side.
Right.
But when it comes to couple counseling, that's when I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
that's not how I recall this thing going.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So yes, that is true that people do shy away from counseling. I think counseling can, and I know some people that actually had counseling and it still didn't work.
No, yeah.
And it's just
they got a what is it called?
revelation.
Revelation
Yes.
in counseling.
Yes.
Yeah, this probably not gonna work.
It's not going to work. So
Yeah.
yes, it's a constant battle. But in the midst of counseling, in the midst of marriage, I feel like my key indicator is you have to stay grounded.
Yeah.
You have to stay grounded because if you're not grounded, and if you think about electronics or whatever, if that ground wire don't work, or if it's shaky, or if that ground wire is loose, or there's some little wires it's a ground for a reason.
Yeah.
And you're not
For
gonna
protection.
for protection.
Yeah.
And once that ground wire get to acting up, we got some problems.
Yeah, somebody gonna get shot.
Exactly. Shocked.
I don't want it to be me.
Right. So that's important. And stay grounded in the word. Stay grounded. Stay focused. Because once you get off focus, that's when things start to just dismantle. Stay grounded.
Yeah, stay grounded. Okay, so that was number one, where it's both parties have to want it. Counseling would help that.
Yes.
Individual and couple counseling. Number two, I said you got to pursue each other again. Pursue each other again. So
What do you mean by that?
I mean date nights. Let's go date nights, and alternate who does the date night. You do it this time, you do it that time. If you guys are losing your, really contemplating divorce, pursue each other again. You have to pursue each other to get together. So you
Right.
pursue each other again.
And speaking of get together, let me chime in just a little bit. Listen, if you've been married 10, 20 years, it's not going to be just like you were first married.
No.
You have to have an indication, a mindset of that marriage 2.0. That's pretty good. Marriage 2.0, you have to restart it all over again.
Yeah.
Because everything changes. Trust me.
Yeah.
Your maturity level changes. Your body changes.
Yeah.
A lot of things changes. So you have to make those adjustments as you get further into a marriage, just like a car. A car changes over years.
Yeah.
You have to have a lot of maintenance to continue to take care of those things. So that's why it's important. Yes, have date nights. And what else?
Affirmations.
Oh,
So, compliment each other. I try to do one compliment a day, and I'm so bad at that, Gregory. I probably go like a whole month without complimenting you, huh?
oh. Well,
Look, you can't even. You probably like,
well, yes and no. Yes, I feel like there are times, but I don't think you do it on purpose. I just think that you have so much on your mind, and sometimes you have an indication or a tendency to forget that, hey, I have this individual in front of me. I need to be like, hey, it's gonna be okay. Hey, how are you doing? You know, I love you. You know, it's
kind of take you for granted that you're always there.
yes,
You know?
exactly. And prime example, in a lot of days with her, you have to encourage her a lot. You okay? I have to do a lot of, like a daily check-in with her.
You don't have to. You want to. Because sometimes it's a little annoying.
Go on, keep it real.
Because I think you do too much.
Well, I'm not the only one that's annoyed here.
Because I am a female, and so when I have a lot on my mind, it seems like I'm kind of drifting off. But it's not that I'm drifting off. It's just that I'm trying to mentally do everything in my head. And so he looks at me, and if I'm not, because he's like a happy-go-lucky person.
Majority of the time.
I'm not smiling and stuff. Are you okay? What's wrong? And I'm thinking like, I'm doggone looking for a shoe. What do you mean what's wrong? You know? So he's on one end of the spectrum and I'm on the other. But some kind of way, I guess we make it to I understand him. You know, I don't be like, you're annoying me, you know. I just accept it, you know. And then I guess he accepts me not checking in on him, or not like, oh, you look nice today, or I appreciate this today. Just simple affirmations and compliments at least once a day would help that. And another thing I'm going to say too is a physical touch. Do you know how many times a day, like, we probably pass each other, we don't even touch each other, or you know, just touch my hand, or you know, something, a kiss. You know, we've gotten better now, but it was times in the past where, you know, we probably went a day without kissing each other easily, just because we were like friends, you know, because we were friends before we were together, you know. So our marriage was built on friendship, you know. So that's my 3 for pursue each other again: is a date night, daily affirmations, and daily physical touches. When I say number 2 is pursuing each other again. Okay, number 3, I say always fight fair.
Oh.
Because if you're contemplating a divorce, you're probably getting in a lot of arguments. So if you're arguing, you have to remember to fight fair. And by that, I mean that, you know, no hitting below the belt. You got to always respect each other. No calling out of names, no degrading your partner. Always listen to respond. Don't listen. Listen to understand. Don't listen to respond is what I meant. So listen to understand, not listen to respond. Because so many times, like, you talking and I'm already thinking like, oh, I'm finna say this and I'm finna say this and I'm finna say that. That's listening to respond and not listening to understand his point of view.
Right. And when you love your partner, there are things that you shouldn't say and you shouldn't do. And that is true, because when you love somebody, you shouldn't hit below the belt.
Yeah.
Because if
you're trying to hurt them.
You don't want to hurt them. You don't want to hurt them because you love them. There are now. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna keep it honest with you. I'm not the most tactful person in the world. I am not the most tactful person in the world. Sometimes I'm a straight shooter, and sometimes I have a tendency to go off and come back. However, I have worked on that, and I feel like I've made a lot of progress. What really helps for me sometimes, you just have to because she'll tell you a lot of times if she go over her rampage, I may get quiet, and sometimes when I get quiet, I say to myself, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to kind of get my thoughts together and try to be more tactful.
Did you just say I go on a rampage?
Yes, you do go on a rampage. Yes, at times you do go on a little rampage, and you may get upset about something or not even a rampage, where you just continue to say stuff like, why is this done like this? Why is this continue to do like this? I can't believe they continue to do this. Why is this? And sometimes you go on your little things, and sometimes you look to me for my response, and I may not say nothing.
You mean with the girls?
With the girls, that's the one example.
I'm a mom. I'm supposed to go on a rampage sometime because I just get frustrated with them.
Okay, and in the midst of your rampage, because you're a mom and you get frustrated with them, sometimes you look for me for advice or, I guess, affirmation. Do you agree with me and things of that nature?
Support. I look for you for support. Yeah.
Support. That's the word.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I just get tired, I'm gonna be honest with you, I get tired of hearing it, and I try to just come up with a solution. Just stop arguing all the time. Just hold them accountable. Just if they continue to do it, hold them accountable.
Okay.
And that's I
thought you was talking about me going on a rampage with you because we're talking about divorce.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Sometimes there could be situations where you go on a rampage and. Listen, I'm not gonna sit here and be. I'm gonna tell it like it is.
Well, I think that's the third part of my I always fight fair is consider a pause period.
Okay. Yes.
So when you feel like an argument is approaching, don't be afraid to be like, okay, let me take 15 minutes and let's get back together.
Yes.
Because you might need to take 15 minutes to cool down before you. Now, when you come back together, maybe it won't be an argument. Maybe it will be a conversation.
Yes. That's really good. That's really good. And that would help. That would really help. Because just think, that's an unhealthy marriage if you just continue to just argue and fuss and just bicker. So that is a clear indicator as far as helping with successful marriage. Yes. That's so right. Take notes, jot that down. That's very important.
Pause period.
Yes. Take a pause period. Take a break. Gather your thoughts together.
Yeah.
Woosah.
Yeah.
And come now. Don't just let it go undressed. No, you have to address it.
Yeah.
But address it in a solid fashion.
Yeah, a conversation and not an argument.
Yes.
And one thing I want to say too is when you having fighting fair, try not to bring up the old scars and stuff. You know, if I'm talking about if we're talking about the trash, like you taking out the trash, right? I don't need to start talking about, and then you didn't make the bed up all last week or something like that, or you didn't do something. That's something totally different.
Right.
So now you bringing up all this other stuff. You probably should have had a conversation about the bed last week when it was bothering you instead of holding on to it. And now we're talking about the trash, and now you finna bring up the trash. You finna bring up the bed. You finna bring up you talked to me wrong the other day. You finna start bringing up everything. So now it's like you're jumping somebody with all these different emotions and stuff. And now the person that you're arguing with, now they overwhelmed like this and this and this. Now what they gonna do? They're gonna fight back.
Right.
And so they're gonna start bringing up all these other stuff about you. And now this one thing about trash could end up, y'all could be arguing about 15 different things.
Right.
And nobody's listening to nobody because the conversation / argument is just too much now.
Exactly. So and you said it at its best when you say to have a fair fight. Mm-hmm. If you're boxing, you box with gloves.
Yeah.
You don't do a Mike Tyson and bite somebody's ear off. You know?
Or kick below the belt. Or
yes,
kick below
or
the belt.
use your elbows to strike the opponent in the face in your boxing. It's not UFC.
Or hit them when they're down.
Exactly.
They're already laying down and you want to keep punching them.
Exactly. So then, for example, when Evander Holyfield got his ear bitten from Mike Tyson, he became a different person. He got to jumping around. Mm-hmm. He became angry, and he started swinging and just doing all type of crazy. Then and I'm having to stop the fight. But make a long story short, you have to can't make those knee jerk reactions.
Yeah.
And in order to how do you avoid that? We just said it. You avoid it by just taking a load off, taking a break.
Yeah.
Taking a deep breath to avoid those things because once they happen and then you can add scars on top of scars.
Yes, and that's what it's gonna be doing. And you already scarred, and now you scarring this away, and some of those scars will slash a different way, and then re-scar the original scar.
Exactly.
Rewound it.
So and yes, and you want to encourage, not disencourage.
Yeah, you know, and that's part of pursuing it. And I guess it leads until the fourth one is to reevaluate your communication. You know, it's something as simple as, you know how I used to say, why did you do this? You remember I used to say that? You couldn't stand that. And I'd be like, Gregory, why did you leave your dirty dish in the sink or something like that? Instead of asking that, you know, say, maybe like I said, like if I already know you didn't turn the light off. If I see the light on, you just came out of the room and turned the light. I'm not gonna say, did you turn the light off?
Yeah, because you already know that.
I see that, yes.
Right.
So I'm just gonna be like, oh, baby, you forgot to turn the light off. You know, something like that. Right. It's a difference. It makes you respond differently.
Right.
So reevaluate how you say things. If I go to the store, right, and I had a list of things to get, and I forget the milk, and I come in the house without the milk, and we unpack it, and you see, you don't see the milk. Don't be like, why did you forget the milk?
Right.
It doesn't matter why I forgot the milk. I forgot the milk. Exactly. That's not important. I forgot it. So now, instead of talking about why I forgot it, let's come up with a plan to get it. Just be like, oh, if you see I forgot the milk, oh baby, I'll just pick up the milk on the way home from work.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Stuff like that. And then I might be like, I might feel bad. Then I realize I forgot the milk. Like, oh no, I'll just run and go get it tomorrow morning or something like that. You know? So don't ask stupid questions. You know, so reevaluate your communication. What do you have to say about reevaluating your communication? What else do you have to say? What can you add about that?
Reevaluating communication.
Because you was talking about it somewhat in counseling, but you were saying about mainly just being honest with the counselor. What did you see? What do you see like in our relationship besides me saying why? And a lot of times I think I asked why at the beginning of the relationship is because I was trying to get to understand him. Okay. And I think that's why I asked why, because I want to know why you did it so I can understand you. But a lot of times you couldn't explain why, and it just only started an argument because I don't think you knew why yourself.
Well, that is true. There's a lot of situations where she does ask me to explain why. A lot of times I get frustrated though because when she asked me to explain and I explained, she said, I don't understand. I'm like, I just talked to you for 10 minutes. I mean, am I talking Spanish? Am I talking a different language? Like, but I don't understand. What do you not understand? Because I'm not saying what you want to hear. I'm just saying I don't know what else am I supposed to do. So that's one of our biggest issues is that sometimes when I explain things, she just bottomly just don't understand.
Yeah.
So
and then sometimes when you try to explain things, you break it down like like I'm trying to learn my ABCs and I already know my ABCs, and so it's irritating that way too. Because he's like, well, I'm trying to explain to you so that you'll understand.
Right. So I try to use effective communication when I'm talking to her. Well, my side of effective communication. So when I think about explaining things, sometimes I have to say, okay, honey, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And she's like, no, you have to talk to me like I'm like a little child. You have to talk to me like this. So that's one thing that I have to work on as far as explaining things, because she said she don't understand. Sometimes mm-hmm. just get frustrated.
Mm-hmm. And I think I need to work on and maybe not trying to, but maybe not trying to question everything, especially when it's not really relevant right. or that important.
Right.
You know, I don't have to completely understand because I trust you.
Right.
So I don't have to completely understand everything. Just
right.
maybe some important things, but
right. Just getting the details.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because I know we went through multiple conversations through our marriage, and she didn't understand.
It's some things I still don't understand,
and we just went on to the next thing, and it was but sometimes. But what she has to understand too, and she'll never understand because she's not a man. And sometimes we do things and we just really don't think about it. Just bottom line, that's just the truth. Well, but why did you do X, Y? I don't know why I did it. Mm-hmm. But if it's a problem, if it's something I feel like I needed to correct, I will work on it and try to correct it. Mm-hmm. But just the bottom line, to sit here and explain and tell you exactly X, Y, and Z, and and sometimes I just plain old just forget. And some people don't forget; they just be like, no, I really forget. So it's hard for me to sit here and that's why me being a lawyer, I couldn't be a lawyer because I would forget all the details.
No, you can't be no lawyer.
No,
but I'm just thinking though, like when you be like, I don't know why. I wonder what it's gonna be like when you ask me something about something, and I be like, I don't know why I did it. I don't think you will accept that. Oh, you would say, what do you mean you don't know why you did it?
Yeah. Well,
you gotta know why you did it.
Well, you do, but sometimes it depends on the situation. It depends on what was done.
Yeah.
Yeah. It depends. Because that's kind of a broad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of broad because it just depends on the situation.
And I used to ask him like why he leave like the empty Kool-Aid pitcher in the refrigerator, because I wanted to understand that, because I would tell him when we first got married, baby, when you drink all of something, just throw it away or put it in the sink. It doesn't matter what it was, Kool-Aid, tea, a water jug. He would leave it in the refrigerator and it would be misleading. And so I open up the refrigerator thinking I'm going to get some milk or something, and there's nothing in it. Why is it in the refrigerator? And I wanted to understand, why would you put something empty in the refrigerator? Were you trying to not want to wash it out?
Well,
did you want to save the jug?
Well,
but he could never explain why he's putting something empty back in the refrigerator.
Okay, so to make sense out of this, a lot of times when you put stuff in the refrigerator, it's not empty. It's always something.
No,
it's always
no.
It's never.
It was empty. It was empty, baby. It was empty, guys. And maybe it was a drop, but it was empty.
But how is it empty? And if it's a drop, it's not empty,
babe. Because you're just dropping everything. It's a drop in everything. Even if you rinse it out and put it back in the refrigerator, you're still gonna have the condensation of the water.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
But it was not. But babe, really, we finna do this? You know what I'm saying? See how you making excuses?
Well, it's not.
It was empty. If you couldn't put it in your cup to drink a cup of drink, it's empty.
Yes, it is considered empty. But I guess now to answer the question, why do I put an empty drop? Maybe I think it's just a little bit more left.
No, not now. No. Okay, we're gonna move on.
Yeah, move on.
The last one, guys, which we need to do right now, is we need to pray together.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Really, when it comes down to it, it is really hard to just walk away from something when you're praying with it. It's hard, guys. And one thing about when you start praying together, y'all can alternate, pray together and pray separately over each other. But when you start praying together, you start hearing like what your spouse want in the relationship.
Amen.
What they're asking God for, what they want God to help them with, what they want God to show them more of. And it's some kind of connection when you have when you and your spouse pray together.
Stay together. Come
Yeah.
on. Come on.
In my opinion, then to me, that's the key. I got it as number 5, but it's the most important. I think I want to end with that because it's really the most important. You can go to counseling. You can try to pursue each other again. You can always fight fair. You can try to reevaluate your communication. But if you believe in God and Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, pray together. That's going to really change things. And it might change. It could. Maybe God could show you some things, you know.
And maybe he can show you, even if and not just praying. Even let's talk about praying before you get married. So if you pray before you get married, and a lot of times we make decisions and it's not our decision, or it's not God's decision. It's our decision. And you feel like, oh, okay, well, God told me to do this. God told, are you sure about that one? Because if he told you to do it, you wouldn't be divorced. That's just the bottom line. You know that I agree with. I feel like if it was led by God, how are you getting divorced if it's led by God? If you were really praying and God told you to marry that person, how you end up getting divorced?
Because God honors marriages.
He honors.
But maybe you're getting divorced because now that's your self-will. So either one could have been your self-will, because God gives you that. God don't make you do nothing.
Right.
You know, he tries to lead and guide you, ask you to seek him for all things, but it's still your choice.
Right.
He don't make you do it. So either it was you misheard him and it was your choice to get married, or you're supposed to stay married, but now your mindset has changed and you want to get divorced. Because I really believe that if you ask God, I don't think God would tell you to divorce someone unless you're physically going through some kind of abuse.
Yes.
Constant abuse, you know?
Yes, because it's in the Bible.
Yeah.
Yes, it's in the Bible as far as, adultery and things of that nature.
And then the husband is supposed to love his wife like Christ loves the church.
Right.
And Christ ain't going to hurt the church intentionally.
Right.
You know, so if your marriage is not in the lines of that, then it might be something to reevaluate, pray, and go through those steps. But
So what you're saying is the bottom line is stay prayed up, pray together. And I'm going to say stay grounded, because that's the same thing. And your ground should be God. Amen.
All right, guys. Woo. That was a good conversation today. Really good. Guys, remember, look for us on YouTube. And if you don't have YouTube, that's fine. Just listen to us, because we are wherever you get your podcasts. Just follow us every time we post, which is on the 1st and 3rd Wednesday of the month. You will hear us. You can reach out to us if you want to at girlsofinspiration@gmail.com. Again, girlsofinspiration@gmail.com. No spaces, no underscore, no nothing, just all together. Ask us questions on there. We'll be sure to try to answer them. And if you have topics you want us to talk about, we can do that as well. So until next time, live, love, and love. Bye, guys.
Deuces.